Well, let's speak live on the programme now to Kethevane Gorjestani. She's our reporter covering the Trump campaign at the moment. She's live with us in West Palm Beach, Florida. Do we know, Kethevane, any of the names who are being floated for top jobs in the Trump government?
Well, there are dozens of names that are going around now for who will be making up the Trump cabinet, the Trump administration. But I'll just focus on something that you said in your opening, which is the names that could impact what happens in the rest of the world. So names that are going around for Secretary of State or Secretary of Defense. When it comes to Secretary of State, some of the names that are coming up, there are a couple of senators, Senator Marco Rubio, for example, who had been in the running for the vice presidential job, who is a very senior person as senator and who's always focused on foreign policy. There's also Bill Hagerty, the senator from Tennessee, who voted against sending more aid to Ukraine just recently in that final package. But there are also other names that were already part of the first Trump administration. Robert O'Brien, he was the fourth and final national security advisor of Donald Trump. He had a meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu back in May, and he's kept a lot of close ties with many leaders around the world. He is very hawkish on Ukraine. He is a supporter of more military aid to Ukraine, so that puts him a little bit at odds with Donald Trump. And then there's also Richard Grenell. He is possibly a name that could be for Secretary of State or National Security Advisor. He was the former U.S. ambassador to Germany, and he very recently sat on that meeting back in September between Donald Trump and Vladimir Zelensky. So that could point to the fact that he will be involved one way or another in Donald Trump's foreign policy. When it comes to the Secretary of Defense, there are some famous names. Mike Pompeo, he was Donald Trump's Secretary of State, now possibly Secretary of Defense. There's Mike Waltz. He's a representative in Congress from Florida, who is a China hawk. And we know that Donald Trump wants to focus on the competition and the rivalry between the U.S. and China. And there's also Tom Cotton, who's a very senior senator from Arkansas. He was also one of the dark horses for the VP race. And he is also, like Marco Rubio, someone who has supported military aid who has said no to aid to Ukraine. But you have also some less political names. You have, for example, Elon Musk, that Donald Trump said he wanted to have as Secretary of Cost Cutting. And you also have RFK Jr. That Donald Trump said would help make America healthy again. These last two names, though, possibly not directly in the cabinet, because those positions would have to be confirmed by the Senate. That could be complicated, but they could have an outsized role in influencing what happens in this Trump cabinet. But of course, this will be a lot of weeks of jockeying for those positions, and we'll be hearing a lot more about what the different names and the different positions could be in the coming weeks.
And Kethevane, are we getting any more detail on the particular demographic groups that did help swing this vote so decisively for Donald Trump?
Look, the overarching trend line that helped Donald Trump win this election with those margins is that even in the areas, and I mean areas either geographic or demographic, and those really align, is that the idea is even when he lost, he made gains compared to what happened in 2020. So, for example, the African-American vote. Yes, of course, Kamala Harris won the African-American vote by about 87%. That said, that is several points lower than what Joe Biden did. So Donald Trump managed to peel away some of that black vote from Kamala Harris. That is the same thing when it comes to the Latino vote. Yes, the Democrats did better, but Donald Trump made gains among the Latino community. We talked a lot about how this could be a historic election for the gender gap, for how women go to the Democrats versus the Republicans. There again, yes, that happened, but not with the numbers that we were expecting. And of course, if you put those two together, adding the sort of the minority vote with the male vote, so male minorities really peeled off to Donald Trump, and that is adding all those little demographics and shifts, small shifts in these different demographic groups. This is the picture that starts painting Donald Trump's victory. We, of course, don't have exactly all the details, but this is how he did it. Small incremental gains a little bit everywhere. And as I was saying at the beginning, this is something that we saw also when it comes to geography. Donald Trump, yes, he lost most of the big cities that are Democratic strongholds, but he made gains. He won 1-2 points more. He made gains in the suburbs, and in rural counties where he had already won, he won by even bigger margins. And then there was also the fact that some people simply decided to stay home instead of voting for the Democratic candidate, and that also helped Donald Trump.
Kethevane Gorjestani reporting for us there from Palm Beach, Florida. Thank you. Well, in a little under an hour's time, President